Locally owned Murfreesboro, the podcast, the people and the stories behind what makes Murfreesboro matter.
Where we get to know the people you need to know in and around the borough. Hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome back to another episode of Locally on Murfreesboro, the podcast, where we get to know the people in our town who are small business owners and we let them tell their story. So we're excited to have a new guest today, being on video. You know, you love us.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so our guest, I'll let him introduce his business, but I want to tell a little backstory of how we met and how he's in our studio right now. So our guest and I have a mutual friend who I know her through my days living in San Diego. We root for the same baseball team, and that's how we met, which is the Mets. And she's from New York, and I lived in New York, so we had a lot of things in common. She left San Diego, I left San Diego. We remained in contact, and she met our guest through her network of her business and found out that he was moving to Murfreesboro. And so she connected us. So we met over Zoom, and then about maybe 7 or 8 months after that, we actually met in person at a locally owned Murfreesboro event.
Yes,
So
that's right.
that was really cool. But yeah, welcome.
Yeah, thank y'all for
Seth
having
Connell.
Yeah.
Welcome.
me. Thank you for having me on. It's good to talk with y'all.
Yeah.
So my business, I'm a financial coach. I've done this since 2018. What I do with folks is I counsel them in personal finance. So it's going to be plans to become debt free, build savings, how to communicate between spouses as well. There's a lot of issues financially between spouses where there's a lack of communication, but it's also just the daily practices, habits, and mentalities that lead to financial freedom and wealth building. That's really what I focus on.
That's I'm so glad this is being recorded because I'm gonna have to watch it back and take notes.
Yeah. You don't have your notepad.
I don't have my notepad. Okay, going to school today. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
I mentioned that Seth just came to Murfreesboro. So yeah, let's talk about a little bit before you got to Murfreesboro. How did you end up here? And yeah, you can share that story.
Yeah, so that's quite a long story how we've gotten here, a number of different phases. But I was living in Virginia. Virginia Beach is where I was, and that's where I met our mutual friend Suzanne. Hi, Suzanne. Hopefully you'll actually watch.
Yes, she better watch.
Better watch. I don't know if she'll watch it if I'm on.
Yeah.
But we were both coach colleagues. We were in the same place, Hampton Roads, Virginia. We met and we connected really well. At the time, though, I was actually in law school. I started my coaching practice in 2018. My wife and I became debt-free earlier that year. And I decided I wanted to share this passion for personal finance with other people because of the freedom it had given my wife and I. So I started that business. And then law school was also in the pipeline as well.
wow.
So I was coaching part-time through law school. And my wife and I had this goal of going to law school completely debt-free. Which is
wow.
countercultural and ambitious, but that's just kind of the person that I am.
I love it.
And so we just did that according to our values. Really, really hard. I applied for tons of scholarships, grew my coaching business, and we made that happen over 3 years. And I graduated this past weekend. It was a year, actually.
Nice.
So it's quite a journey. But in terms of, because with the way the practice of law is done, I do that separately outside my coaching practice, is that it's done on a state level. So there's not like a national license to practice law. And so I had to determine, all right, we're going to stay in Virginia or were we going to potentially go elsewhere? We came out to the region in July of 21 when things back in Virginia and many other states were still pretty shut down.
Yeah.
And we really enjoyed the area. We really did. I'm affiliated with Ramsey Solutions as well. I'm one of their preferred coaches. I have been pretty much since I started. So I saw some folks there. I know some people in the area. A friend of mine from high school lives over in Franklin and works there too. Nice. So we knew some folks that were out here. And a number of months of long conversations, and we decided to make a transition out here. So graduation was a year ago. I prepared for the bar exam, took it, passed on the first attempt.
Yes,
thankfully.
Nice.
So that was a big blessing, and sworn in last November. Kept building up the coaching practice as well, and here we are. It was a lot of steps, but we've been provided for. We've been diligent, and here we are. Looking forward to serving this community with excellence.
So you went through law school debt free. But then you immediately had a ton of clients who were covered in debt from law school. So it was like, yeah, it's like a pipeline of free clients for that.
Yeah, so I've got a couple classmates of mine who I work with just on
Nice.
their situations because going
Yeah.
through any law program, professional degree, medical school, student loan debt is usually the way that it goes, and it's a lot of
Mhm.
6-figure student loan debts, and it's really hard for folks
Oh,
to
man.
process that. And so, but knowing that there's a way to do that, it's not going to take you 30 years. It's not going to be with you to the grave, as some folks think. There is a way out of it. It
Yeah.
requires some sacrifice. It requires diligence and doing things counterculturally. But there is a path to debt freedom, and that's what I do with folks. And it's just I love what I do.
Yeah. And you've said the word countercultural
Yeah.
like a couple of times. And so it seems as though our culture lives in the credit card world,
Mhm.
spending the money before you have it, then all the interest and stuff. Tell me about some of those things that are countercultural that kind of have to take place to do that.
Yeah, so countercultural in terms of personal finance, it means some patience. It means waiting to buy things until we have the money for it.
There you go.
And it's not mortgaging our future by putting things on credit and then becoming somebody else's source of passive income by paying them interest on the debt that we have created.
Mm,
And that means patience. And a lot of folks in our society, especially where we have our phones, everything is immediately there.
yeah.
Delayed gratification is really, really difficult.
Yeah.
But I don't know if either of you have heard of the marshmallow experiment. Does that ring a bell for either of you?
No.
So, psychological experiment done couple decades ago, and
Yeah.
they watched kids. They said, all right, here's a marshmallow. We're going to leave you in a room for 5 minutes or whatever, and if you don't eat that marshmallow and I come back in 5 minutes, I'll give you another one. And they watched the kids' behavior, and what they found was that the ones who were able to delay and wait, they generally had better trajectories in terms of overall life success because they were able to say no to things temporarily so that they could have something better in the future. And that's the idea. It's not giving into the temptations that are out there the way that we're marketed to
Right.
so heavily. It's being able to say no to some things right now so we can say yes to the things that matter to us in the future.
Yeah. We jokingly say that on every corner there's a Dollar General and a fast cash place.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally just putting money in somebody else's pocket. And as you said, building passive income for others who just sit back and wait for the money to roll in. So
Right.
So yeah, I can attest to that. My husband is pretty disciplined in that area where we save for what we want.
Mm-hmm.
The hard part is deciding on what we want together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want a big screen TV. I want to travel. So that's the
Yeah.
fun part in our thing. But patience is key. That's
Mhm.
big. That's big.
Yeah, and I think it is definitely a hard thing with that instant gratification because everything is right at our
Mhm.
fingertips.
Mhm.
And you're constantly being told to be successful, you have to get this, or like you have to
Mm-hmm.
buy this, or you have to do this course, or you have to,
Yeah.
put all this stuff on, get points to travel when it's like, but if you don't
Yeah.
pay it off right away, or you even put it on credit card, you don't pay cash,
Yeah.
then it ends up being
You're
more
paying somebody
expensive.
else to yeah.
So
Yeah. I always liken it to I did I spent a couple of days in West Virginia, and it's a coal mining town, and there were dilapidated houses, even trailers with nice Cadillacs in the front. And it was
Mm-hmm.
like my father-in-law said, it's all about where you put your priorities. If you want
Mhm.
somebody to see you looking good going down the road, then obviously you care more about the car that
Mhm.
you drive than the house that you live in. But if you want to have a ton of people at your house and you want to be a hostess, maybe you want to spend more money on that. But to me, it's about finding what is most important in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's building a legacy and spending time with family.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's probably goal one. Like, you have to really figure out what you want as a goal when you start, right?
Yeah, definitely. And that's a big thing that I really focus on is helping my clients determine what is valuable to you, what matters to you, what are your personal goals and values, and how can we live in a way with how we behave with money that's going to be consistent with that.
Right.
So it's about, okay, I've got a structure, a plan that I teach and I generally advise folks follow. But really, kind of the meat on the bones, so to say, for that skeletal structure is your values, it's your goals, it's the things that are important to you that give you that authentic, organic motivation to do things well each and every day, because it's a journey. It's not a single event. It doesn't just happen where we have financial success and wealth overnight. That's
Right.
not the way it works. It's a work and lifetime, and the future that we build for ourselves is the sum of the decisions we make each and every day, and we have to be willing to do what it takes to get there.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
agree. I have a dear friend who, and I don't listen to Dave Ramsey often, but I heard him several times. I mean, literally decades ago. And he said, live like no one else so that you can live like no one else. And I have a dear friend Karen Linkle, I'm so proud of you. They did what they had to do to get completely out of debt. Now they have a beautiful home. They just bought an RV. They're taking their family, and it's all debt free. And I'm just so proud of her.
Yeah.
It is not an easy, she lived with their mother-in-law for quite a time.
Oh, that's a
to
sacrifice.
cover that
right?
off, right?
Yeah.
That is countercultural, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, just so proud of you, Karen. I still see things on Facebook, and I'm like, you are doing so awesome.
Yeah.
So it's possible. It's
Yeah.
possible.
And I think, I mean, I took some of the coaching from our mutual friend, and it definitely made me think about money differently also, because it was like, oh, I can do this, or I can, it's been, I've moved in that process. So some of the teachings that I've learned is not as strong as I would like it to be. But I understand the concept of getting to where I need to be debt free. But like certain things, I'm like, oh, I don't put it on credit card like I
Right.
used to. And I have to make sacrifices or get like side jobs and stuff like that. But I think it's just the rewarding feeling of being able to pay off a credit card, no matter how small it is just amazing.
Or a
And-
car loan,
Mhm.
or a
Yeah.
mortgage,
Mhm.
or a student loan, or
Mhm.
you name it.
Yeah.
You name it. Like just paying that off, it is almost like a physical burden, really.
It
Yeah.
is. And I
Yeah.
can say when we were on in June of 2018, so coming up on, what is that?
5 years.
No, a little more, 6. Because we just had
18. Yeah,
18
yeah.
to 23. I'm bad at math. Ironically, I'm a personal finance, but I'm bad at math. So, but again, most of personal finance it's behavior based. It's not as much math unless you're on the
Right.
investing side, which is not what I do. Just to clarify, I don't help people with
Right.
investments. That's what folks who are financial advisors, certified financial planners do. This is the everyday practices that we have here, the mentalities and the behaviors. That's what I focus on. But we were debt free in 2018, paid off my last student loan then. And as soon as we hit that payment button, I just like you said, I could almost feel that burden lifted off.
Yeah.
And there's this, I forget, it's like a neurological phenomenon where, let's say, when something's gripped on you for a while,
Yeah.
after a while, your nerve endings become numb to it, and you don't even realize it's there. But it's only when there's the release that you realize that pressure was there. And the same thing happens financially too.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's the body copes with
Yeah.
pain.
Yep.
You're like, that's hurt for so long that I just learned to deal with it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then when you're like, oh, this is what life is without pain. Yeah.
Becomes
Right.
normalized.
So same. Yeah. Our brain is a very strong tool for
Definitely.
sure. So you kind of how you got into that, you just felt the desire to become debt free. What was the path that led you to coaching?
So in 2017, May 6th, 2017, so we just celebrated our 6th anniversary. So yes, 5 years debt free, by the way.
Yeah.
That was the
I know
fun.
math. I know math.
Yeah.
But it was June of 2018, we became debt free. And then we got married the year before. Basically, when we got married, I kind of said to myself, well, it's probably time to grow up here and
Yeah.
do the right thing. So I did some reading. I came across, Ramsey Solutions, that Total Money Makeover, the book that Dave
Mhm.
Ramsey wrote in 2002, 2003. I
Yeah.
read it, started to apply some of those things personally, but then it was really when we got married that it got serious about it. And during that time, I had student loan debt. It wasn't a ton; it was like 16,000. Then I added a car debt on top of it, so it was like $27,000 that we
Yeah.
had total.
Yeah.
All mine, all my decisions. My wife, she didn't bring anything into our marriage, which is good. But in the process of that, the Monday after Thanksgiving 2017, I got laid off from my job, and we lost 2/3 of our household income. And she was teaching a private school at the time, not enough to cover what our basic bills were,
Right.
but we were able to just make it by. I was underemployed for 6-7 months. I was doing Uber, Lyft, Instacart, miscellaneous writing gigs, just whatever it was that I could do in order to get some money coming in. But we increased the intensity of our debt snowball. That's the plan that we followed. And we did $27,000 in 13 months, even though for half that time we were
Wow.
underemployed.
That is determination.
So we got there and it was just like, wow, this is amazing here. And so we shared our story online, on Facebook and whatnot. And I was hoping somebody would reach out to me asking how we did it. And lo and behold, somebody did. And so they asked to meet to talk about what was going on. And I had basically at that time in August or whatever, 2018, my first coaching session, although it was very bad because I didn't know what I was doing. But I
Right.
just talked
Right.
about our journey, the different things we did. And it was so awesome to see where they came in kind of just looking confused, unsure if they could do this, and then watching their whole demeanor change to one of confidence and hope. I literally,
Yes.
and I saw a
A
light come
light
on in their eye.
bulb. Yep.
Exactly. It
Love
was
that
like a
moment.
light in their eyes.
I love
And
that moment.
it was amazing. It was just like, wow, this is so incredible. And it was
Mhm.
shortly after that that I saw that there was a coach training that I could go through. At the time, I was studying for the LSAT, the law school admission test. But I said to myself, this is for me. I need to do this. So the day after the LSAT, I decided to go for the coach training, made the investment. And then at the end of 2018, launched into doing this. And it's been one of the greatest, most rewarding things I've ever done.
Nice. That's awesome. What a great story.
Yeah.
That's a great why. Everybody loves to hear the story, their why. So
So again, and for me, it's, it's our story. This is not just theory. This is not just, some random thing. This
Yeah.
is deeply connected with our own journey and that passion that I have for what we've experienced. I want other folks to feel the same way.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. Yeah. People, don't want somebody who's just studied in a book. Like you've lived it. So that's
Yeah.
huge.
For sure.
As a business owner, what would you say is your biggest struggle as far as your coaching?
Biggest struggle. So I think one of the big things, especially for the coaching industry, is that not many people know that we exist as coaches.
Right.
So financial advisors, financial planners, they've been around for many, many decades, probably hundreds of years, even in one extent or another. But a financial coach it's a different role that we occupy.
Absolutely.
So someone can have
Financial planners kind of help you with your excess. What do you do with
your
your
portfolio
excess?
and like all
right.
Your
Yeah.
excess funds. This is what I want to use to invest, and
Mhm.
you help get people excess.
Exactly.
There you go.
So it's one way that I like to put it. I have this on an article on my website, is that a financial advisor, financial planner works on how your money behaves. I work on how you behave with your money. Is the
Oh,
way
that's
that
good.
is.
Yeah.
That's good.
So and that's hard. That's really hard work, because we have to be willing to confront the fact that we may be doing things that are counterproductive for us,
Yeah.
and be willing to look in the mirror, to self-reflect and say maybe something has to change here. But that's a part of the personal growth journey.
Right.
Yeah.
But for this here, again, it's habits, mentalities, practices. I help to educate and inform my clients for what they do.
Yeah.
But a lot of folks simply don't know that financial coaches exist. And so some folks will be looking for help with debt and help with things like that, how to budget, and they'll go to financial planners and financial advisors.
And
Many
they'll
of the
tell them to spend their money. And
They-
it's
yeah,
like,
they-
oh,
a
You
lot of
want
them
more
do.
money? Let's take this little bit that you have. Yeah.
And a lot of them, sometimes they'll do a little bit of that, but not to the degree that I do.
Right.
And so some of the advisors I've connected with over the years, I say, this is what I do. When you find these people, I want to be that resource. And then when they're ready, when they have that income available, especially when they're debt free, they can invest way more. And in the process, your business as a financial advisor is going to become more profitable too, because they're more holistically well.
Right.
So, but it's helping people understand, one, that I exist, that I'm here.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's only existed as an industry for maybe 15 years or so, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also helping folks understand what coaching is really about, and who it's for too. Because coaching is not just meant for people who are really struggling, but this is also meant for people who are doing well, but want to just take things to the next level.
Yeah.
One of the analogies I like to use is that the best of the best, they always work with a coach. Professional athletes, surgeons, lawyers,
Boom.
doctors, corporate
There
executives,
you go.
all of the people who are at the top of their fields, their industries, they have somebody working with them to improve at the margins. Because at the margins is where it's hardest to make those improvements. When you're in the top 5% to get to the top 3%, that's really hard to do.
Yeah.
So it's not just folks who are really struggling, it's folks who are doing well, but want to have somebody helping them to improve little bits. And that can be really hard to do independently, but I'm here to help folks who want to just take that to the next level.
For sure.
Nice. So let's struggle.
Yeah.
Right. So we're helping. Tell people that you're here.
Yes.
What's one of your biggest wins?
Biggest wins, let's see. So right after the bar exam,
Yeah.
it was the Monday afterwards, I started working on developing an employee financial wellness program. That's something I'm really starting to press into now.
Nice.
Because and this is something perhaps all the business owners here will want to take note of this. Employee financial stress costs American businesses $500 billion a year. $500 billion.
Whoa. Say that one more time. Financial stress.
Financial stress at home for your employees costs American businesses $500 billion per year. And that's in lost productivity. That's in a lack of engagement at work. That's also because of the stress that comes with that. That's
Yep.
a suppression of the immune system, and
Mhm.
folks are more likely to be sick and miss
Miss
days of
days.
work.
Mhm.
They're more likely to have conflict with their coworkers as well. There's a lot of different things that come from
Right.
financial stress at home.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I developed a financial wellness program for businesses to offer as an employment benefit. So I
Wow.
developed that. I actually did that recently with 2 car dealerships back in Virginia. So I was going back there once a month for the past couple of months, doing workshops with them. We divided up the workforce kind of into shifts and talked about personal finance in a holistic way. So it was
Right.
paying off debt, budgeting, insurance and savings, and then building wealth, things like that. And just again, talking about these basic things, all building on itself so that folks are equipped to do well at home. And in the
Yeah.
process, they're going to become more engaged, more productive on the job,
Right.
and therefore making the businesses that they work for more profitable because they're actually working more when they're at work. So being able
Mhm.
to do that for 2 car dealerships was really, really fun. I love that. Suzanne and I actually worked a little
Yeah.
bit on the program together. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if she talked to you at all
No, I
about it.
haven't heard from her about it, but you told me a little bit. And I think, when it comes to, you talk about holistically well. I think that's one of the big benefits of something like that, because I feel like our businesses don't do. I mean, we're working more as a workforce, but we are at the same time working less because we have
Yep.
so much other things going on.
Yep.
Hmm.
And then we're worried about money, then we don't show up properly, and that affects
Yeah.
everything.
Hmm.
And it's like your relationship with money is kind of like you're doing that, but they don't have that. Like, they don't have that in a small business, which is what most of our locally owned business owners are. And two, like, this just where can you find something like that besides watching a bunch of YouTube videos, or like there's
Mhm.
Hmm.
no like personal relationship
Yep.
that you're building where you can,
I'm sure
one,
there's a
talk about it.
package that you can buy that you can listen to all the things, but
Yeah.
there's something to be said about getting nitty-gritty, down and dirty with your budget and somebody else going, "You could do this."
Hmm.
Like, it is possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just having that guidance saying it's like, okay, I know you can do this. And sometimes when I talk with folks and say, I believe you can do this, that's one of the things that nobody's ever said that to them before.
Oh, yeah.
And
They've just
so
been beat down, and you're always gonna have and it's always gonna be, and yeah, no.
Yeah.
but that in the business space, it's a big thing. It's a big problem. A lot of business owners perhaps don't realize this is going on. But as a part of the program, I do a survey of the workforce, anonymously, just to kind of gauge where everybody is. There were in the surveys that we did, there was a significant number. I think it was maybe about a third of the people, the respondents or so, they were distracted 5 to 6 hours per week by their personal financial problems. And if you think, weekly, if you're paying them, let's say $25 an hour, let's just say
Mhm.
something like that, 5 hours a week, think about how much that adds up to.
Yeah.
And some data from John Hancock, I think this is 2021. It was an average of $2,400 per employee that's lost because of that stress. And
Mhm.
in 2019, it was about $1,800. So in 2 years, it jumped up by
Yeah.
600. So this is a significant problem,
Mhm.
and it's not going to be solved by having a higher 401k. It's not going to be solved by having more health benefits. This is something where folks need that type of guidance, and by investing in their well-being,
Yeah.
your business is going to
Yeah.
thrive longer term.
And for small business owners, like when you work for a small business, it's like a family,
Mhm.
and we
Yeah.
care about the well-being of our family. So for our
Mhm.
small businesses who are watching and listening, invest in your business, invest in
Mhm.
your people, and help them find some peace
They're gonna keep coming back to want to work for a company or a
that cares
business that
about
cares
them.
about them,
Mhm.
because
Absolutely.
they'll easily
Absolutely.
go somewhere else, or, oh,
Yeah.
look at all these
Yep.
benefits. And
And here's something too, with the car dealerships that I work for, they
Mhm.
had a large bank. All y'all probably, I won't name the bank specifically, but you've heard of this bank before. They have something they call employee financial wellness, and they brought them in. I don't know exactly what they paid this bank to do that, but they brought them in, and basically it just turned into what I'm going to call a pitch slap for various debt products. So it was just more credit
Oh,
cards, personal loans, HELOCs, things like that,
oh,
and
jeez.
everybody just tuned it out, had a really bad taste in their mouth. So
so
banks and large institutions, they may offer this, but think about if there's a potential conflict of interest with what they're giving, because they
Right.
may turn it into this product that
Yeah.
we offer, this credit card's going to fix all your problems, when that's not so. But for me, I don't sell anything like that. I don't sell insurance. I don't do investments. It's pure education and helping folks grow. And so there's no conflicts of interest on any of this.
I love it. Love it.
Yeah, that seems cringy. Like,
Yeah.
hey, get out
Pitch
of
slap.
debt.
I like
Here's
that.
the loan.
Yeah, it was one of those things where the workforce, they heard financial wellness. They all thought, oh, God, not another one of these things that
Oh,
that
so
bank
you had a
came
small
in.
hill to climb yourself.
So
Okay.
yes, we did
Yeah.
have to do that. It took a little while, it was like, oh, well, that's not what we're doing. Okay. So,
Yeah.
but
good.
again, that's just something for business owners to think on, is if a bank is offering that, really look at the details of it, because it may not be something that's equipping them to make good decisions. It might not be employee financial wellness. It might be bank financial wellness.
There you
What it
go.
may end
Yeah.
up being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find the motive. Find the why. I'm telling you guys, they know your why. Yep.
Well, yeah, you shared something that, something we always ask, like, what's one thing you wish people knew? And it's like, that's something, I mean, I've heard financial wellness from banks, and like I see all the advertisements, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I want to stay away. Like, I actually want to get out of debt, or like manage my money better.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to say when like a coach does it, because you need that outside perspective. You can't,
Oh yeah.
of course, yeah, I want to budget better, and I'm sure you want to budget better. I don't
Mhm.
say it all the time, but you need someone there to like stand by you. And
Well, I want to ask this question. So for someone, let's say, that struggling living paycheck to paycheck, now we can look at our app. Oh, we've got this much money in the bank. Oh, I can purchase this thing. Like, not having a budget is a real thing.
Mhm.
So what do you say to someone that's like, I don't know that I can afford to have a coach?
So one thing that I talk about is the fact that my average client for the past 2 years has saved $1,700 a month with my guidance.
Whoa.
So that's just looking at the ways that we're spending. That's looking for new income opportunities.
Mhm.
That's looking for just all sorts of different ways that we're spending our money that we don't even realize. Most of the time, it's not an income problem; it's a spending problem.
Oh,
If
it's not an income problem, it's a spending problem.
Most of the time. Sometimes it is an income problem, and we have to figure out, okay, how are we going to get the income up? And that can be a part of the equation, of course.
Fair.
But
Fair.
there's, especially with eating out, that is such a huge thing.
Oh, I
Especially
feel called out.
eating out, it's so easy to do.
Mhm.
The highest that I've seen so far, somebody spending on like DoorDash and whatnot, was about $4,000 a month.
what? No way.
$4,000 a month.
No way.
So
Oh.
that's a bit of an
I
extreme.
do feel
every
better
meal.
about myself
That's
now.
every
Thank you,
meal.
Seth.
So
No, but I learned that too. But go ahead, finish. I don't want to.
but there's things that are kind of just these seepages in our budget, and the way that we're spending, we don't even realize how much it's adding up to. Even
yeah.
if just regular grocery shopping, those extra items that we add in, because grocery stores are very good at product placement. It's
Oh, yeah.
very, very dangerous. They
Darn
know
you,
what they're
Kit
doing.
Kats.
So I got to give them credit.
Yeah.
But if we're not careful, it's adding a thing there, and before you know it, it's a couple $100 extra a month that we're spending. So most of the time is the spending. It's finding out where the money is going, and it's been very few times that I found that folks who I work with truly cannot afford to work with me. It's finding out where their money is going and saying, all right, is having this type of change that we're talking about here, do you value that enough to make this investment in yourself so that you're going to be fully equipped to make good decisions moving forward here?
Mhm. And you said on average they're saving about $1,700 a month.
On average.
On
Some folks are
average.
higher, some folks
them
are lower, obviously.
Understood. But let's say half of that. If I could save $800 a month, boom, that's like a trip in 4 months.
That's a pay raise, basically. And all we're doing here,
I want a pay raise.
all that we're doing, this is the thing that I want to help folks understand about budgeting, is that this is not being overly restrictive. This is not being put into a straitjacket.
Yeah.
No guilt or shame.
This is not cruel and unusual punishment,
Yeah.
things like that.
You
This
can
is
still go out to eat.
you
Just have
can
a
if-
budget.
This is simply reflecting, helping your values be reflected in your spending habits. And so if something like that, if eating out is a value of yours, if doing travel is a value of yours, paying off debt, building savings, if those things matter to you, your spending habits are going to be an honest and objective reflection of that. If you show me your calendar and show me your bank statement, I'll show you the things that matter to you, because you can tell me, you can say what matters to you, but the numbers are not going to lie. And it's helping folks to really do those things in an integrated fashion. And by living in a way that, living in that integrated fashion, we trust ourselves more, we trust our spouse more,
Mhm.
we can take on more responsibility and do greater things. But it's hard. It's hard to do that.
Seth, I'm gonna get my husband on board with this,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna guinea pig for you, and then I'm gonna share with everybody what amazing
Yeah.
things we're doing.
Okay.
I'm sold. I'm sold. I'm ready to do this.
Well, and it sounds like it's also a little bit of marriage counseling.
Oh, you'd be.
Oh yeah,
You'd be
I definitely went
surprised.
through it with Suzanne, because it's like you kind of go through the psychology of
I can-
how you
Mhm.
treat money and what you value, and those are some tough meetings.
Many of my clients have called me their marriage counselor.
And
Not-
sometimes that's the root
He's
of
not licensed to do that, but
any
he ends up
issues.
saving. Yeah,
That's the root of most
Oh,
marriage issues
yes.
is money.
money,
And if you can,
in-laws, and religion.
yeah,
100% top 3.
Definitely.
yeah. Well,
All right,
I
I'm
look
for real. We're
forward to
doing it.
hearing your
And
experience.
we're gonna chronicle all the things,
Yeah.
minus the numbers. Nobody's gonna see the number, but we are gonna share the numbers that change.
Oh, and you can get my money makeover book, so you can save some money. I can sell it to you.
What? Okay.
Side hustle, right?
Yeah, side hustle.
Okay. Yeah, more income. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I
we're
mean,
gonna do this.
It's literally a
Because
book.
like there's somebody said that I need to be, as a small business, I need to be putting $500, like the max amount, into my retirement. And I was like, no, I don't have $500. So where is that supposed to
You
come
do
from?
have
May not
it.
feel
I
like it.
do have it. It's just,
Where is it going
where
to
is it
right
going
now?
currently?
And again, the thing is, we have to be honest with ourselves about that. And
Mhm.
it can be hard to open up about these things. But
Yeah.
something I want to emphasize is that having somebody like a coach or counselor in your corner, that's not a sign of weakness. That's a sign of courage, is what it is.
Yeah.
Because it's recognizing that, some things we're not equipped to handle. We weren't given the skill set to do this.
Vulnerability.
Especially for millennials. It's my generation. There's a lot of things that we needed to know, but we're never taught. And
Yeah.
so I'm trying to fill that gap, is
Yeah.
to help folks learn these things that we needed to know. We were just pushed into college, so many of us. College at all costs, an absurd message.
Credit card tables at
Yep.
my first day of freshman
Mhm.
orientation.
Got my
That type
very
of stuff.
first
Yep.
credit. Yep.
But bringing
And
someone
a
in,
Belmont towel.
but bringing someone in your corner, it's not saying you're a failure. It's simply saying that I want to do what the best of the best do, so that I can be the best at what
Yeah.
I do with my personal finances. That's what it really
Why
means.
not me?
All
Why not
right.
me?
I know he doesn't listen, but Stephen Lay, we're going to figure this out.
He will listen to this one. Maybe.
Sure. He's gonna.
One way or the other.
Oh, I'm excited. Like I'm feeling the weight already. Like
good.
I just literally was thinking, like, I'm just gonna have to go sit at Simply Pure Sweets and visit and not buy cookies all the time.
Yeah. Or buy one.
Buy one
One a
cookie.
month.
Can I
Yeah.
get a Gobo cookie?
That's get one, buy one.
Get one, buy one. If I get one, I'll buy one.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, I'm excited.
Cool.
I'm excited. I'm excited to share the story too. Like this is gonna be this is gonna be good.
And it's a story. It really is. It's a
Oh,
journey. It's
I
something
love
that
to
takes
tell
time,
stories.
so-
I'm a storyteller for sure. All right, this is good stuff. I'm excited. Can we start today? No, I'm just kidding. Let's speaking of extra income, let's thank our sponsors. Awesome. Thanks
Thank
to Cultivate Co-working for the sponsoring our This or That segment.
Get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. I think you get with this, 'cause this is where it's at.
Scuba diving or skydiving?
Skydiving.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to do that. I need a budget for it.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah,
Let's do
budget
that.
for it.
That's right. It's $150. Quiet rainstorm or thunder and lightning?
Thunder and lightning.
I like it.
Chicken or steak?
Chicken.
Okay. And then real estate investing or stock markets?
Stock markets.
Oh, I was like, whoa, I thought that was a no-brainer. I thought
Doge.
That's not investing in the stock market.
It depends when you got in.
It's not stock market. It's different.
it's totally different. I was so sure it was a real estate thing. Never mind. Okay. Thanks for playing. And now
It's time for our Be Present Nugget of Wisdom. All right. So this one comes from Ken Robinson. If you're not prepared to be wrong, you'll never come up with anything original.
Ooh.
So,
If you're not
s-
prepared,
to be wrong,
yep. mhm.
you'll never come up with anything original. Being wrong and making mistakes are steps to success.
Right.
So this kind of aligns with your episode, and I didn't even really
Yeah.
like align it, but it's like we're conditioned to believe that, we have to follow certain ways or certain practices, our
Cultural. Mhm.
relationship with money, how we were raised, and I think that factors in to everything we do. So
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like my dad rolls over in his grave every time I spend money. I don't think that I don't think it has anything to do with my upbringing. I think it has to do with, well, maybe because like my dad was like I never got Lucky Charms. They were always like Marshmallow Puffs. It was always the
Yeah.
store brand. And so when
Yeah.
I got a job and moved out on my own, I was like, I'm always getting Lucky Charms.
Yeah.
I'm never settling for Marshmallow Puffs,
Yeah. Well,
but they're just as good.
I
Sorry.
used to make fun of my dad, well, kind of mock him when he would say this, do you want it or do you need it?
Needs versus wants.
Needs versus
That's
wants.
a hard dynamic.
And I learned that
like
maybe
I
when I was
need Ted Lasso.
No, I need to
but-
go to buy this thing. I need to buy a pair of shoes when I was
Oh, yeah.
younger. And honestly, like it still resonates every time I'm like I see like even DoorDash. I'm like, oh, I'm hungry. And there's nothing I need to eat, but there's nothing I can eat in this house at that time. And I'm like, I go into DoorDash, I go all the way to the end, I see the fees and the delivery and and I have not added tip yet, and I'm like, this dinner is going to cost me $40
For some, that would have been like $10 if
10
you went there and got it yourself
or like
too.
or
Yeah,
I
or
don't
even
have to
15
eat,
with gas.
or I can
Mhm.
have an apple or like something else that's like it'll make
Oh,
me it'll
man.
nourish me and I don't have to spend all that money. And I'm like,
Mhm.
it really does. And that's something I learned when I was younger, but also got reminded with my coaching. And then I'm like, even if I could afford it, because I could, it's in my budget of spending money for food, but I'm like, no, $40 is just
Yeah.
too much. No.
Yeah, we have some dear friends that they budget for groceries, and like so May 1st was a Monday and they're like, we're not going shopping until May 1st. That's when our next budget starts. So on Sunday they did what they call a pantry challenge. I was like, my family would die. And my husband's like, well, just get peanut butter and crackers. I was like, all day? He's like, oh.
Yeah. It's
I love
kind of
it.
fun though.
I
Sometimes.
know. Get creative.
Yeah, these are some of the things we can do, but here's something I want to emphasize too. And a lot of folks, when they reach out to me or they're thinking about it,
Mhm.
they think, oh, well, he's just going to tell me to cut spending and things like that,
Mhm.
things that we already objectively know. But here's the way that I emphasize. I've kind of emphasized this already, but here's what it really is. It's living according to your values with your money.
Mhm.
If you have something that's a value of yours, if it's eating out a lot, we simply budget for it. If it's getting out of debt, we budget for it. Whatever it happens to be, I ask you to clarify what those things are so that
Mhm.
you know what it is. And then your budget that we have here, the spending plan, as Ramit Sethi calls it in the show How to Get Rich, I just watched that recently on Netflix, calls it a conscious spending plan. All that we're doing is saying, this is what I'm going to do. And one way I like to say is that by the end of this month, here are the promises that I've made to the future version of myself. And this is what I'm going to have accomplished by that time. It's flexible. It's designed to change if needed. And we're simply putting it to paper what we're going to be. Paper, app, whatever you want to use.
We
it's
have
your
a
values.
we have a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
We have a budget spreadsheet.
Yeah. And have a budget meeting. Those are the funnest ones.
They're
Talking about it. That's hard to do. And going from destructive conflict to constructive conflict, that's a big thing that I work with couples on.
Well, Ted Lasso ends in May, so I can drop Apple TV. That's easy. That's fun.
Yeah.
There's $7. I'm on a roll.
Yeah. Cool. So how do people how does someone like Missy get in contact with you?
So you can look me up on Google. Financial Coach Seth Connell LLC is the name of my business. So I also have a website as well, coachconnell.com. I have my Facebook page, Financial Coach Seth Connell. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn as well. So folks can find me that way. And then soon can probably share my direct contact info folks would like. But my cell number, if folks want to reach out, 757-515-9825. Just say what you're looking for, and then we can take things from there.
Awesome.
All right, boys and girls, we're going to do this. Missy's going to be the guinea pig.
Yeah. And
Get ready,
you'll have to come
Stephen
back
Lay.
you have to come back for a follow-up episode.
We'll come back for a celebration.
Or like a live
do
budget
like a
meeting.
celebration about the money that
about
I'm
your journey.
saving and how I'm going to get to go on my trip that I want to go on. And
Yep. Awesome. Thank you for
Deal.
your time, Seth.
There you go.
awesome. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Locally Owned Murfreesboro, the podcast. New episodes every Wednesday on all your favorite podcast platforms. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Locally Owned Borough.